Captain Sarah Chen stood motionless at the forward observation deck of Earth's memory, her eyes fixed on the spiral arms of the Milky Way growing larger with each passing moment. The neural interface at the base of her skull pulsed gently, synchronizing with the massive generation ship's systems. Data streams flickered across her enhanced vision. Approach vectors, stellar drift calculations, and sensor readings from a galaxy that hadn't seen human ships in 3 millennia. She wasn't alone in the observation deck. No one was ever truly alone on Earth's memory. The quantum consciousness matrix hummed in her mind, connecting her to the shared memories of humanity's exodus. They weren't her memories. She had never seen Earth's blue skies or felt its gravity, but they were as real to her as her own experiences. Status update, Erasure, Sarah commanded, addressing the ship's artificial intelligence. The AI's response materialized directly in her thoughts through the neural link. Main stellar cartography confirms we are approaching the Orion Arm, Captain. Comparing current star positions with historical data, stellar drift matches projected models within 98.9% accuracy. Sarah nodded, though the gesture wasn't necessary for communication. Old habits from the early days of neural interfaces persisted through the generations. Begin awakening sequence for Block C personnel. We'll need our stellar archaeologists soon. The ship itself was a marvel of human engineering, developed and refined over countless generations. Nearly 20 kilometers long, it housed 50,000 descendants of the original 10,000 survivors. Every cubic meter had been carefully designed to sustain human life and preserve their culture, their knowledge, and most importantly, their purpose. The memory surfaced without warning. It always did at unexpected moments. Sarah felt her consciousness slip into the shared recollection, experiencing humanity's last day on Earth through the eyes of her ancestors. The sky had been beautiful that morning, a cruel irony that countless survivors had noted in their journals. Then the first waves of enemy ships appeared, their massive forms blotting out the sun. The evacuation had already begun days earlier, when long-range sensors detected their approach. 10,000 chosen survivors, selected for genetic diversity and essential skills, boarded the hastily prepared evacuation ships. Sarah experienced the memory through Maria Chen's eyes, her ancestor who had commanded one of the evacuation vessels. The neural matrix let her feel Maria's determination as she guided her ship past the enemy's orbital blockade, her heart breaking as she watched atmospheric processors begin their work on Earth's surface below. The memory shifted, showing the moment when the surviving ships regrouped at their emergency rendezvous point. Maria had been the one to suggest their long-term strategy. Instead of seeking immediate revenge, humanity would retreat, evolve, and return stronger. "We'll give our descendants the victory we couldn't achieve," she had said. That moment of decision echoed through 3,000 years of human determination. Sarah pulled herself from the memory as ARIA flagged an anomaly in her awareness. Multiple artificial energy signatures detected in nearby systems, the AI reported. Patterns indicate significant technological advancement compared to historical records. "Show me," Sarah commanded. A stellar map materialized in her mind, dotted with thousands of energy signatures that hadn't existed when humanity fled. The galaxy had grown busier in their absence. "Wake the command staff," she ordered, her decision made, "and begin preliminary power-up sequences for our secondary systems." The massive generation ship housed more than just living quarters and hydroponics. Within its carefully maintained halls lay weapons and defenses developed over 3,000 years of focused innovation. Sarah allowed herself a small smile as she felt the ship respond to her commands, its systems humming to life through her neural link. Humanity had not spent their exile merely surviving. They had evolved, adapted, and prepared. Every generation had contributed to their advancement, driven by a single shared purpose passed down through the quantum memory matrix. They were no longer the same species that fled Earth. They were something new, something stronger. And they were finally home. Dr. Marcus Rivera watched through reinforced observation windows as 30 young pilots synchronized with their training vessels. The neural simulation chamber stretched before him, a vast space within Earth's memory where the next generation practiced the skills that had become uniquely human. Each pilot lay in a suspension pod, their minds merged with holographic ships that danced through virtual space. "Remarkable," Dr. Una Park murmured beside him, her medical sensors tracking the pilot's biosignatures. "Their neural synchronization rates are exceeding the previous generation by 12%. Marcus nodded, his own neural interface streaming data about the simulation. The pilots weren't just controlling their ships, they were becoming them. 3,000 years of evolution in space had changed humanity in ways their ancestors could never have predicted. "Run Program Epsilon," he commanded. The holographic battlefield shifted, introducing new challenges. Asteroids materialized around the pilots' ships, along with hostile targets displaying attack patterns based on ancient records of their enemies' tactics. The response was instantaneous. The 30 pilots moved as one, their ships weaving through the asteroid field with impossible grace. No artificial intelligence could match their coordination, the perfect blend of unified purpose and individual creativity that made humans unique. "Neural load approaching peak efficiency," Una reported, but her voice carried an odd note that made Marcus turn toward her. She was staring at her medical readings with an expression of disbelief. "What is it?" "Their cellular adaptation rates. I've never seen anything like this." She transferred the data to his neural interface. "Look at their genetic markers for spatial awareness and radiation resistance." Marcus studied the information flowing through his mind. The newest generation of spaceborne humans showed significant genetic divergence from their Earthbound ancestors. Their bones were less dense but more flexible, their cardiovascular systems more efficient at distributing oxygen, and their neural pathways optimized for processing three-dimensional space. "Computer, end simulation," he commanded. The holographic battlefield faded, and the pilots began emerging from their suspension pods. Their movements were fluid, perfectly adapted to zero gravity, though the training chamber maintained partial artificial gravity for practical purposes. One of the pilots, a young woman named Erasure, approached the observation window. "Dr. Rivera, we've identified a potential weakness in the Epsilon scenario. If we adjust our formation to account for gravitational lensing around high-mass objects, we can improve our response time by 23%. Marcus smiled. This was why humans had survived. Not just their ability to adapt, but their drive to constantly improve. "Show me," he said, transferring the simulation data to a nearby holographic display. A warning flashed through his neural interface, interrupting their discussion. "Medical emergency in Block D." Marcus exchanged glances with Una, who was already moving toward the exit. They found the source of the alert in one of the hydroponics labs. A technician named James Chen, related to the captain, like a significant portion of the crew after 3,000 years, lay on the floor, his body convulsing with a strange blue luminescence beneath his skin. "I've never seen a reaction like this," Una muttered, running her medical scanner over James's body. "His cells are undergoing some kind of accelerated adaptation." Marcus watched as the luminescence faded, leaving James unconscious but stable. The medical readings told an impossible story. His cellular structure had reconfigured itself, becoming even more efficient at processing the trace radiation that permeated the ship. "They're still evolving," Una whispered. "All of us. The changes are accelerating as we get closer to the galaxy's core." She looked up at Marcus, her eyes wide. "We're not just going home. We're becoming something entirely new." Marcus touched his neural interface, composing a message for Captain Chen. Their return journey was affecting them in ways none of them had anticipated. Humanity wasn't just bringing 3,000 years of technological advancement to their confrontation with their ancient enemy. They were bringing evolution itself as a weapon. Commander Yuki Tanaka's stealth vessel emerged from quantum space at the edge of the Arcturus system, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to conventional sensors. Her small crew of 5 represented humanity's first contact team in 3 millennia, chosen for their exceptional neural synchronization abilities and diplomatic training. Multiple artificial structures detected, her ship's AI reported through the neural link. Design patterns unknown. No match with historical databases. Yuki studied the sensor data through her enhanced vision. Massive ring-shaped stations orbited the system's third planet, their architecture unlike anything in humanity's records. Life signs. Confirmed. Detecting approximately 300,000 entities. Species classification. Unknown. A signal penetrated their cloaking field, impossibly precise. Temporal anomaly detected. A melodic voice announced in perfect Earth Standard English. Unknown vessel, you carry time-shadowed energy signatures. Identify your origin. Yuki's crew tensed, neural links humming with shared awareness. Their cloaking technology should have been impenetrable. How should we proceed, Commander? Lieutenant Sarah Wong asked, her fingers hovering over the weapon controls. We stick to the mission parameters, Yuki decided. She opened a channel. This is Commander Yuki Tanaka of the human reconnaissance vessel Shadow Whisper. We come seeking information. Silence stretched for several seconds. Then, humans, the lost ones. Your return was foretold. Permission to dock granted. The massive ring station's surface shifted, revealing a docking bay that seemed to phase into existence. Yuki guided their ship inside, where they found themselves surrounded by tall, crystalline beings whose bodies emitted soft pulses of bioluminescence. I am Zarki, the closest being announced, its crystal form refracting light in complex patterns. Chief Archaeologist of the Jury Collective. We have waited long for this meeting. The jury led them through corridors lined with temporal displays, three-dimensional recordings of historical events from across the galaxy. Yuki's breath caught as one display showed Earth, but not as it appeared in their quantum memories. This was Earth as it existed now. Your homeworld remains unchanged, Zarki explained, noting their interest. The surface is maintained in its altered state as a monument to dominion. We have studied it extensively, though access is restricted. You said our return was foretold, Yuki prompted, gathering intelligence while maintaining a careful diplomatic facade. How? Zarki's crystalline form pulsed with complex patterns. The prophecy of convergence, carved into the ruins of 1,000 worlds. It speaks of a species cast into the void, who would return transformed by the stars themselves. The being paused. Many dismissed it as allegory. Others feared it enough to take preventive action. Understanding dawned. The attack on Earth wasn't just about conquest, Yuki realized. It was about preventing this prophecy. Indeed. But prophecies have curious ways of fulfilling themselves through the very actions taken to prevent them. Zarki led them into a vast chamber filled with star maps and patrol routes. A resistance network exists, spanning multiple systems. We maintain it, gathering intelligence, waiting for the moment of convergence. Yuki shared the information through her neural link with the Earth's memory, knowing Captain Chen would receive it instantly. And now that we've returned, now we share what we have gathered. Zarki's form brightened. But first, you should know, your evolution has not gone unnoticed. The changes in your species, your technology, they exceed the prophecy's predictions. You are not merely transformed. You are transcendent. Warning signals flashed through Yuki's neural interface. Long-range sensors detected a massive fleet approaching the system. We have company, she announced, both to her crew and their hosts. Zarki's response was calm. Yes, the prophecy speaks of this too, the moment when the hunters become the hunted. Now, Commander Tanaka, shall we show them why they were right to fear humanity's return? Admiral James Chen stood on the command deck of the Stellar Dawn, watching as Earth's memory transformed. The massive generation ship's outer hull split along predetermined lines, revealing the truth hidden within. Each segment contained a fully equipped warship, their designs refined over thousands of years of preparation. All vessels report neural sync complete. His XO reported through the shared consciousness link. Fleet coordination matrix at optimal efficiency. James felt the neural connections crystallize as 30 ships separated from the generation vessel's hull, each crewed by pilots who had trained their entire lives for this moment. Through the quantum-linked network, he experienced their unified purpose, their shared determination. "Begin Operation Phoenix," he commanded. The fleet moved with impossible precision, their neural-linked crews acting with single-minded coordination that no traditional command structure could match. The enemy fleet, caught off guard by the sudden transformation of what they had assumed was a single vessel, scrambled to respond. "Multiple targets acquired," the tactical officer announced. "Enemy vessels matching historical records with significant technological upgrades. They've adapted some of our stolen technology." James smiled grimly. But not all of it. Execute Pattern Sierra 9. The human fleet split into 3 groups, moving in complex formations that looked chaotic, but followed patterns refined through generations of simulation. Enemy targeting systems, designed to predict conventional battle tactics, failed to locate viable firing solutions. Through his neural link, James received a priority communication from Commander Tanaka's stealth vessel. "Admiral, the jury have provided access to their sensor network, uploading tactical data now." New information flooded the fleet's shared consciousness: hidden defense platforms, patrol routes, shield frequencies. 3,000 years of intelligence gathering delivered in an instant. James distributed the data through the neural network, watching as his crews adapted their tactics in real time. "Sir," his tactical officer's voice carried an edge of excitement, "I'm detecting fluctuations in their shield harmonics. Their adaptation of our technology is imperfect. There's a vulnerability." "All ships," James commanded through the neural link, "synchronize weapons frequencies to match their shield oscillation. Fire on my mark." The human fleet moved as one organism, their weapons charging in perfect harmony. When they fired, their combined energy beams pulsed at exactly the right frequency to pass through the enemy shields, as if they didn't exist. Explosions blossomed across space as the first wave of enemy ships succumbed to the precisely coordinated assault. The remaining vessels attempted to regroup, but their formation was already broken. "Admiral," his XO called out, "we're detecting multiple quantum signatures. Enemy reinforcements incoming." Through the tactical display, James watched as new enemy ships emerged from quantum space, their weapons already charging. But something was different about these vessels. They moved with more precision, suggesting enhanced neural interface technology. "They've been studying us," James realized, learning from each engagement. "All ships, initiate Protocol Omega." The human fleet's neural network shifted frequencies, adapting patterns that had never been used in actual combat. These were their reserve tactics, developed but held back specifically for this moment. Enemy vessels fired, their weapons tracking predicted movement paths. But the human ships were already elsewhere, their neural-linked crews implementing maneuvers that existed only in theoretical simulations until now. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the jury are offering reinforcements. Their temporal technology could give us an edge." James felt the weight of generations of preparation behind his next decision. "Accept their offer. It's time to show our enemies exactly what humanity has become." Through the neural network, he sensed the mixture of anticipation and determination from his crews. They had trained for this moment across generations, carrying the memories of Earth's fall and the knowledge that someday they would return. The battle was far from over, but humanity had achieved something their enemies never expected. They had evolved beyond simple revenge into something far more dangerous. They had become innovation itself. Dr. Maya Patel's hands trembled as she brushed dust from the ancient crystalline tablet. The ruins beneath the surface of New Haven, a recently liberated world, held secrets that changed everything they thought they knew about humanity's exile. "Translation matrix processing complete," her AI assistant announced through the neural link. The symbols on the tablet shifted in her enhanced vision, transforming into readable text. "This can't be right," she whispered. cross-reference with all known historical databases. Her team gathered around as the results confirmed her suspicion. Dr. Elena Santos, their xenolinguistics expert, leaned closer to examine the tablet. The dating is accurate. This warning was carved 10,000 years before humanity's exile. Maya activated her direct link to the command channel. Captain Chen, you need to see this immediately. The response came instantly through the quantum network. Transmitting to my neural interface now, Dr. Patel. Maya positioned her optical sensors to stream the discovery. The tablet spoke of a convergence, a moment when a species touched by the void would unite the galaxy's civilizations. The prophecy didn't just predict humanity's exile, it predicted their return and transformation. There's more, Elena announced, uncovering another section of the ruins. These civilizations, they weren't just predicting our future, they were shaping it. The walls around them came alive with holographic displays, activated by their presence. Star charts materialized, showing migration patterns, technological development curves, and evolutionary projections. Their enemies hadn't just attacked Earth out of fear, they had attacked to prevent this very moment. Captain, Maya transmitted, according to these records, our exile wasn't just random chance. The ancient civilizations knew humanity needed to evolve, to transform in the void of space before we could fulfill our role. You're saying they planned this? Sarah Chen's voice carried a mix of disbelief and revelation. Our entire exodus was predicted. Not just predicted, Maya corrected, studying the flowing data. Engineered. The radiation that triggered our evolutionary changes, the quantum consciousness technology we developed. All of it was seeded along our exile path by these ancient civilizations. A new signal interrupted their discussion. Dr. Raj Kumar, leading the Earth reconnaissance team, broke into the command channel. Captain, Dr. Patel, we found something beneath Earth's surface. Some kind of massive energy signature. Maya's heart raced as she compared the readings to the prophecy texts. It's a nexus point, she realized. Our ancestors didn't just flee Earth. They activated something before they left. Something that's been waiting for us to return. Through her neural link, she felt Captain Chen making a decision. Dr. Patel, your team has 1 hour to gather everything you can from those ruins. We're advancing our timeline. The fleet moves on Earth. Captain, Maya transmitted urgently. There's something else you need to know. The prophecy speaks of a choice, a moment when humanity must decide not just the fate of our enemies, but the future of all galactic civilization. The ruins around them pulsed with ancient power, revealing more holographic data. The star charts showed 2 possible futures, one of continued conflict and eventual extinction, another of unprecedented unity and evolution. The weapon beneath Earth's surface, Maya continued, it's not just a weapon. It's a key to unlock the next stage of galactic evolution, but using it requires a sacrifice. What kind of sacrifice? Sarah's voice was cautious. Maya studied the final translations, her hand steady now despite the weight of their discovery. According to these records, unlocking the device requires humanity to give up our desire for revenge. We have to choose to break the cycle, not continue it. The command channel fell silent as the implications sank in. 3,000 years of preparation, driven by the need for vengeance, had led them to a moment where they would have to choose between revenge and transcendence. Through her neural link, Maya sensed the quantum ripples of humanity's combined consciousness processing this revelation. They had evolved beyond their ancestors' expectations, but their greatest test still lay ahead. Space rippled around Earth as the human fleet emerged from quantum transit, their ships moving in perfect synchronization. Young pilot Kai Anderson felt the neural network pulse with the combined consciousness of thousands of crew members, their thoughts merging into a symphony of coordinated purpose. Multiple enemy signatures detected, his ship's AI announced through the neural link. They'd fortified Earth's orbit beyond historical records. Through the tactical display, Kai watched as orbital platforms shifted, revealing weapon systems that had been hidden beneath the planet's ruined surface. The enemy had spent 3,000 years turning humanity's homeworld into a fortress. All ships, Combat Formation Delta. Admiral Chen's command echoed through the neural network. Initiate primary assault sequence. The human fleet split into precise formations, executing maneuvers that looked like a choreographed dance. Enemy weapons fired, their energy beams slicing through space where human ships had been moments before. But the neural-linked crews had already adapted, their movements guided by both individual instinct and collective strategy. K sensors detected something unusual about one of the enemy vessels. "Sir," he transmitted through the command channel, "I'm picking up harmonic resonances similar to our neural technology." "Confirmed," another pilot added. "They're using captured systems, but there's something different about the energy signature." Kai focused his enhanced senses on the anomalous ship, letting his neural interface analyze its patterns. Years of training in pattern recognition kicked in, and suddenly he understood. They're not just using our technology. They're trying to sync with it. Without waiting for authorization, Kai pushed his neural interface to its limits. He reached out through the quantum field, searching for the frequencies that connected the enemy's stolen technology. His consciousness brushed against foreign systems, feeling their attempt to mimic human neural networks. "Anderson, what are you doing?" Admiral Chen's voice carried a note of concern. "Their neural tech is imperfect," Kai explained, his mind racing through possibilities. "They understand the mechanics but not the underlying quantum principles. I think I can." His consciousness found a gap in their defenses, a fundamental flaw in how they had adapted human technology. Kai pushed through, establishing a connection with the enemy vessel's systems. Pain lanced through his neural interface as foreign protocols tried to resist, but Kai persisted. Through the shared human network, he felt other pilots recognizing what he was attempting. They joined their consciousness with his, adding their strength to the intrusion. Multiple enemy ships showing signs of system instability, Tactical reported. Their neural networks are failing. Kai felt the moment their combined consciousness breached the enemy's defenses. Suddenly, he could sense their ship systems as if they were extensions of his own vessel. "Admiral," he transmitted, "we can control them." The enemy fleet frantically tried to sever their neural connections, but it was too late. One by one, their ships turned, weapons powering down as human consciousness spread through their networks like a digital virus. Below, on Earth's surface, Dr. Maya Patel's voice cut through the battle chatter. "Energy spike detected. The ancient device is activating." A beam of pure energy erupted from the planet's surface, cutting through the chaos of battle. It struck one of the enemy's largest vessels, but instead of destroying it, the beam seemed to transform it. The ship's hull shimmered with new patterns, its very structure evolving before their eyes. The prophecy. Maya's voice was filled with awe. "This isn't about destruction. It's about transformation. The device isn't a weapon. It's a catalyst for change." Through his neural link, Kai sensed something profound shifting in the quantum field that connected all human consciousness. They had prepared for 3,000 years to take back their home through force. But now they faced a different kind of victory, one that required them to transform not just their enemies but themselves. The battle for Earth had become something entirely unexpected. The first step toward a new kind of evolution, one that would reshape not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of Earth's memory as reality itself seemed to bend around them. The ancient device's energy had spread beyond its initial target, creating a web of quantum connections that linked human and enemy ships alike. Through the neural network, she felt the collective consciousness of humanity struggling to comprehend what was happening. Multiple transformations detected across all vessels, her tactical officer reported. "Both our ships and theirs are evolving." The enemy's flagship appeared on their main display, its hull now traced with patterns of living light. A transmission cut through their communications channels, carrying a voice that seemed to echo across quantum frequencies. "We were wrong." The enemy commander's words translated directly into their thoughts. The prophecy wasn't about destruction. It was about this moment. Sarah watched as the transformation spread. Ships on both sides were changing, their technology merging with something far more advanced. Dr. Maya Patel's voice came through the neural link, excited but controlled. "Captain, the ancient device is rewriting the basic laws of physics around us. It's creating a bridge between normal space and something else." Through their shared consciousness, Sarah felt the presence of others, not just humans and their immediate enemies, but countless species watching from across the galaxy. The Jiri's crystalline ships approached, their temporal technology resonating with the changes. "The device is reaching critical threshold," Maya reported. "We need to make a choice now. We can either try to control this transformation or let it guide us. But we can't do both." Sarah felt the weight of 3,000 years of preparation, of countless generations living and dying with the dream of revenge. She looked at Earth below them, its surface still scarred from ancient weapons. The choice seemed to crystallize in her mind. All ships, she commanded through the neural network, power down weapons. Open your neural interfaces to full spectrum. "Captain," Admiral Chen's voice carried concern. "Are you sure? We've waited 3,000 years for this moment." "Yes," Sarah responded, feeling the truth of it in her quantum-enhanced consciousness. "Our ancestors flowed into space not just to survive, but to evolve into something that could understand this moment. We're not here to finish an old war. We're here to start something new." The enemy commander's voice returned, carrying a new tone, one of revelation. "The prophecy spoke of a species that would unite the galaxy. We thought it meant through conquest. We never understood. That unity requires both sides to change," Sarah finished. She could feel the transformation accelerating as more ships, both human and enemy, synchronized with the ancient device's energy. Dr. Patel's excited transmission cut through the moment. "Captain, I'm detecting quantum signatures unlike anything in our records. The device isn't just transforming our technology. It's upgrading our neural networks, connecting them to something vast." Through her enhanced senses, Sarah perceived it. A network of consciousness that spanned the galaxy, waiting for millennia to be activated. Their own quantum memory technology had been just a primitive echo of this greater connection. "All vessels," she commanded, her decision made. "Prepare for final transformation. Let the changes happen naturally. Don't resist." The space around Earth blazed with energy as the ancient device reached its peak. Ships from both fleets began to merge, their forms shifting into something that defied conventional physics. The neural network expanded, connecting not just humans to their ships, but all species to each other and to the fabric of space itself. The prophecy wasn't about our return, Sarah realized, feeling the truth through the expanded consciousness. It was about this transformation. Our exile, our evolution, our desire for revenge. It was all preparation for this moment of choice. Through the neural link, she sensed the enemy commander reaching the same understanding. Their forces, once locked in combat, now moved in harmony as the transformation reached its final stage. 3,000 years of preparation had led not to a battle of annihilation, but to a revolution in the very nature of existence. Captain Sarah Chen stood on Earth's surface for the first time in human history since the Exodus, but her perception extended far beyond physical form. Through the transformed neural network, she experienced reality in ways her ancestors could never have imagined. The quantum consciousness they had developed during their exile had evolved into something transcendent, connecting them not just to their ships, but to the fabric of space-time itself. "The terraforming process has begun," Dr. Maya Patel reported, her consciousness resonating through multiple dimensions. They watched as streams of energy from the ancient device flowed across the planet's surface, restoring what had been destroyed 3,000 years ago. The sky above them shimmered with the combined fleet, human ships and former enemy vessels, now transformed into structures that defied conventional physics. Their new forms pulsed with living light, each one a bridge between normal space and the higher dimensions they had discovered. The other worlds are responding. Admiral James Chen announced through the expanded neural link. Similar devices were activating across the galaxy, creating a network of transformation that spread like a wave of enlightenment through space. Through their shared consciousness, Sarah felt the presence of their former enemies, now partners in transcendence. The enemy commander, now known to them as First Speaker Vextal, manifested beside her in a form that merged physical and energy states. For millennia, we thought we were preventing a catastrophe. Vextal communicated directly through the quantum field. Instead, we were part of its fulfillment. Your exile forced humanity to evolve precisely as the prophecy required. Sarah watched as the first trees took root in Earth's renewed soil, their growth accelerated by the ancient device's energy. But these weren't ordinary trees. Their DNA had been transformed, creating a hybrid of Earth's past and humanity's future. The branches seemed to shimmer between dimensions, their leaves capturing light from multiple realities. The jury archives are updating themselves. Maya's thoughts rippled through the network. The prophecy wasn't just about this moment. It's still writing itself, showing us what comes next. Above them, ships from 1,000 species gathered in Earth's orbit, drawn by the wave of transformation spreading through the galaxy. Each vessel underwent its own metamorphosis as it entered the field of enhanced reality. The combined fleet had become a living symbol of unity, their forms merging technology and consciousness in ways that made their previous divisions seem primitive. We thought our story was about revenge, Sarah communicated to the assembled consciousness of multiple species. We prepared for 3,000 years to take back what was lost. Instead, we found something greater. The ability to transform not just ourselves, but the very nature of existence. The ancient device pulsed one final time, completing Earth's restoration. But it hadn't simply returned the planet to its past state. Instead, it had created something new, a world that existed simultaneously in normal space and the higher dimensions they now inhabited. Cities of light and energy began to form, structures that served both physical and quantum inhabitants. Through the expanded neural network, Sarah felt the thoughts of her ancestors, not just memories now, but echoes preserved in the quantum field. They had known, somehow, that exile would lead to this. Their sacrifice had given humanity the time and pressure needed to evolve beyond simple revenge. The cycle is broken, Vextal observed, their consciousness resonating with understanding, not through force or dominance, but through transformation. Sarah looked out over the renewed Earth, feeling the presence of countless species joined in the expanded consciousness they now shared. Humanity had returned home, but home had become something greater, a nexus point for a new kind of civilization, one that transcended the physical limitations that had once divided them. "We've all come home," she responded, feeling the truth of it through every level of reality. And this is just the beginning. The dawn broke over the transformed Earth, its light carrying new properties that reflected their evolved state. Humanity's journey had led them not to an ending, but to a new chapter in the story of existence itself.